So where have I been? What have I been up to? And frankly, what's the future of this channel? Well, a lot has changed behind the scenes, and today I want to catch you up and show you what just landed in my garage that might change everything. Some of you have noticed that I haven't posted any videos in a long time. So where have I been these past few months? Well, earlier this year, from February through almost June, we were in the middle of a huge renovation project. And if you've ever lived through one of those, you'll know the deal. Planning, buying materials, dealing with surprises, and supervising everything. It essentially takes over your whole life. And on top of that, since the basement was completely torn apart, my garage turned into a sort of storage unit for everything that used to live down there, which essentially meant that there was basically no space left in my garage to film, build, or even move around in here. Then came summer vacation, family visiting, and once all that settled, I spent weeks just trying to reorganize the shop, getting stuff back into the basement, and squeezing all my stuff in one small storage room. I migrated as much as I could into this already tight garage and sold what I no longer use to make room. And at the same time, I have someone close to me that's dealing with some health stuff right now, so I'm trying to be a little more present and more supportive for them. And all of that added up to very little time or mental energy for YouTube. And once you've been away from the camera and the editing process for a while, it's really honestly hard to jump back in. But behind the scenes, one thing that has been really active is my laser template business. And that's where this whole story starts to shift, because the truth of it is that now I basically have two full-time businesses. So here's the thing. I actually run two completely different businesses, and these last few months really forced me to take a look at both differently. The first one, and the one that most of you probably know me for, is the woodworking and content creation side. That's DIY Montreal. That's where I build projects, design jigs, test tools, film tutorials, and share everything I've learned along the way. And that side of the business makes money in a few different ways. First is through YouTube, AdSense from views, through sponsorships you see in videos and Instagram Reels, through affiliate links, mostly Amazon, those are the links down in the description, and through plan sales for the woodworking plans that I design. It's the creative side of what I do, and it's where this channel started, and it's still something that I love today. But then there's the second side of the business, and that's the laser product side, which has grown way more than I ever expected. I design and sell clear acrylic router templates, trays, lanterns, seasonal shapes, and all kind of products that I make right here and ship out myself. That business runs through Etsy and my own website, and it's much more hands-on, cutting sheets of acrylic, packaging orders, printing labels, answering customers, all of it. In a way, I've become my own little small manufacturing operation. And honestly, it's been doing really well enough that it now takes up a big chunk of my time. So I've ended up with these two businesses that both demand a lot of my attention and both pull me in slightly different directions. And that's where things start to get complicated, because both of these businesses need time, they both need focus, and they both need space, which I'm totally running out of. Woodworking and content creation means setting up cameras, filming, editing, planning projects, designing plans. It's a whole production in itself, and it takes a lot of time. The laser business takes a whole different kind of energy that's behind the scenes, but still takes up a lot of time. Product development, running the machine, packing orders, managing inventory, customer support, you name it. In a one-car garage, space becomes a big part of the decision. When I moved the laser in here, along with all the acrylic, inventory, shipping boxes, it pretty much took over the whole workspace. I could barely do anything, let alone use a tool, without moving 3 other tools out of the way first. And honestly, after being away from filming for so long, getting back into the rhythm has not been easy. YouTube is incredibly rewarding, but it's also a lot of work. And the DIY world has become more competitive than ever. So I find myself thinking, do I double down on the woodworking content, or do I lean into the laser business? Or is there a balance somewhere in between? And just when I was really starting to ask myself those questions, something showed up that might just help me figure it out. So I got a new tool, and this is where things get interesting. Meet the XTool P3, the newest XTool laser on the market. Now, I already have the P2, and honestly, when XTool first reached out about the P3, I hesitated. Don't get me wrong, the specs on this thing are impressive. But if you look around, I have zero extra space in this garage. And the P2 has been working pretty great for my needs. But at the same time, how do you turn something like this down? On paper, the P3 is a huge step up. More power, more speed, a much larger work area, pass-through bed, and a lot more automation. And if I'm serious about growing the laser side of my business, this is exactly the kind of machine that could take it to the next level. So yeah, space aside, I was just too curious not to try it. I mean, come on. All right, let's see what the P3 can actually do. The first thing I noticed with the P3 is, of course, the size. Side by side with the P2, the P3 is clearly a bigger machine, and that extra size really matters. With a usable work area of 36 inches by 18 inches, I can work with much larger raw materials and design bigger projects without constantly redesigning things to fit the machine. But honestly, the biggest difference for me isn't just the size, it's the automation. The P3 is built around something called XTool ACS, the Automated Creation System. And in very practical terms, this is how it works. You just drop in your workpiece onto the bed, close the lid, and the P3 basically figures everything out for you. It uses the cameras to see where your material is, LiDAR to handle focusing, and the lift base automatically adjusts the height. No measuring, no manual focusing, no lining things up by eye. That alone changes the whole workflow. Less setup, fewer mistakes, and a lot more confidence that what you see on the screen is what you're actually going to get. And you can watch all of this happen in XTool Studio while the job is running. You get 2 live camera views, a front view and a side view, so you can monitor progress in real time and see exactly what the machine is doing as it works. There's also a noticeable jump in raw capability. The P3 runs an 80-watt CO2 laser compared to 55 watts on the P2. In practice, that means faster cutting, fewer passes, and better performance on thicker or denser materials, which really adds up if you're producing parts regularly. Another awesome feature if you're more on the production side is batch scanning. You can place multiple identical parts on the bed, just throw them on there, and the camera will scan everything in seconds, and the machine will automatically line up the job for you. No jigs, no manual alignment, just place the parts and hit go. The P3 also supports pass-through with the conveyor system, which opens up the door to huge projects. I'll be honest though, right now I literally don't have the space to actually run long material through it. My garage is completely maxed out, as you can see. But even just setting it up like this, it's easy to see the potential. So once I make some room, being able to run really long pieces like full-length signs without breaking them up is going to be a big deal. So far I'm loving the P3, and it's clearly designed for the next level of work. More automation, more power, larger usable work area, and a workflow that's built around efficiency and repeatability. So I'm not making a final call yet, but the P3 is on another level, and it opens up so many new possibilities for my laser business while making the whole process a lot easier. So where does that leave me? Honestly, I'm still trying to figure it out. The P3 definitely doesn't help with the space problem, nor does it suddenly make the time issue disappear. But it does change the equation. With 2 lasers now, and one that can do so much more than before, I need to think hard about where I want to go from here and what that means for this channel. Do I try to split my time evenly between the woodworking content and the laser business? Do I put content creation aside and lean into product design and online sales? Do I pivot this channel to add more laser content? Or do I quit my day job to have more time for both? I mean, what's the right balance that makes me happy, makes you happy, and won't burn me out? That's the question. And honestly, I don't have a final answer yet, and I'm okay with that. But I genuinely love to hear from you. Do you want to see more woodworking projects, more laser-focused content, or more behind-the-scenes looks at how I'm building this business? Drop a comment below and let me know. For now though, the very first thing I need to figure out is space, how to make more room in this garage, and whether that means fewer woodworking tools or one less laser. Because with how cramped things are right now, I can't really do much of either. Either way, this feels like the start of a new chapter. I just need to clear some space, both literally and figuratively, and see where it leads. And for the record, I hate wearing glasses.